The government is totally irrational, and this is a stupid price. But what's important here? The gold reserves held by the Department of the Treasury is partially offset by a liability for gold certificates issued to the Federal Reserve banks at the statutory rate, which Treasury may redeem at any time. So there's $11,041 million. Let's take a look at a little bit deeper in there. Gold certificates are book entry transactions, so they no longer use those $100,000 bills. It's book entry transactions that represents the monetization of government-owned gold at its par value of $42.222 per fine troy ounce.
The U.S. Treasury's gold reserves are partially offset by liabilities from gold certificates issued to Federal Reserve banks at a fixed statutory rate, which the Treasury can redeem at any time. These gold certificates, totaling approximately $11.04 billion, exist as book entry transactions rather than physical currency. They represent the monetization of government-owned gold at its set value of $42.22 per troy ounce. Mike Maloney, a well-known financial educator, investor, and author, explains that gold was once the base money of the U.S. Still, the government issued more fiat currency than it had gold reserves to back it up. Initially, Federal Reserve notes were redeemable for gold on demand at the U.S. Treasury, but only a fraction of the money in circulation was backed by actual gold. As people began withdrawing gold coins, it threatened to expose this imbalance, making gold dangerous to politicians and the Federal Reserve, not the public. Ultimately, gold was nationalized to protect the fiat currency system, shifting the U.S. monetary system away from gold-backed money. Let's dive into the video for more insights. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for the latest updates.
I mean, why would they go to all this trouble? Why make gold illegal? Gold is the most inert. I mean, they can't trust us citizens with this dangerous element, gold, that is so inert. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't corrode. It's a wonderful metal that, because of its properties, is so non-dangerous. They made teeth out of it for many, many years. You can still get gold teeth. So you can put it in your mouth and you can live your entire lifetime without it doing anything to your body. So why would they see this as so dangerous that they have to nationalize it? Gold was our base currency at the time. It was our base money. It was our base money. But they had issued a bunch of national fiat currency, Federal Reserve notes. And at first, these notes, this is a 1928, and they were redeemable in gold coin on demand at the United States Treasury. Now, I find that interesting. Federal Reserve saying, here's my IOU, the Treasury will pay you. It's like me issuing an IOU and saying my neighbor will pay you. They're not one and the same. But it's redeemable in gold on demand at the United States Treasury or in gold coin or lawful money, meaning that this is not lawful money at any Federal Reserve bank. So what is this? This is, it's awful money, not lawful money. It's unlawful money. It's a national fiat currency. It is not money. It's currency. But it was redeemable in money. The problem was, under the Federal Reserve Act, there was a 40% reserve ratio. So for every $100 bill they put in circulation, or $100 worth of bills that they put into circulation, the Federal Reserve, the Treasury only had two $20 gold pieces to back that up. And so it was a lie. It was a fraud. And now, when people start withdrawing gold coins and taking them home, it threatens to expose the lie. That is why gold was dangerous. It wasn't dangerous to us. It was dangerous to these lying, cheating politicians and the people that run the Federal Reserve. So what was the lawful money? It's a gold coin or lawful money. What is the lawful money? It's this. This is in the chapter 1 of my book, The Great Gold and Silver Rush of the 21st Century. This is a U.S. Treasury note. This certifies that there have been deposited in the Treasury of the United States of America $10,000 in gold coin payable to the bearer on demand. So you could take this receipt for gold, this currency.
Mike Maloney highlights that the U.S. Treasury once added $11 billion to its account by issuing gold certificates as collateral for loans from the Federal Reserve. This effectively made the Fed a pawn shop, lending money to the government in exchange for a claim on gold reserves. Over time, as the money was spent, the gold remained encumbered by this financial arrangement. In 2001, reporting procedures were updated under a new demonetization policy, allowing the Treasury to redeem gold certificates. However, to fully reclaim ownership of its gold, the Treasury would need to repay $11.37 billion to the Fed. Until then, the gold is technically there, but remains under a lien held by the Federal Reserve. Now, let's get back to the interview.
For the general operating expenses of the federal government. So a long time ago, $11 billion was added to the Treasury's account and they spent it. Now, moving further down this thing, background, the gold certificates represent a Treasury liability to the Federal Reserve banks since the Federal Reserve has loaned cash to the federal government with gold as the collateral. Gold is the collateral. So what is the Federal Reserve? If the gold is the collateral, that means the Federal Reserve is some big pawn shop. That's all it is. It's a pawn shop. If you go to a pawn shop, now I've only been in a pawn shop one time. It was just next door to another store, and I was looking at the stuff in it. I've never used a pawn shop. But people go to pawn shops in desperation for a loan, and they loan something of value to the pawn shop. They get cash. They've got a certain number of days where they can go and redeem their claim check, pay the cash back plus interest, and get their valued object back. Most people are unable to pay it back, and they lose the valuable item, which is then sold. So the Federal Reserve is acting as a pawn shop to the U.S. government here. And then it goes into the account and gets spent. So moving on, there's something that happened in 2001. The U.S. Mint, the Fiscal Service, and the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve updated reporting procedures when the new demonetization policy became effective in 2001. To effect the demonetization policy, Fiscal Service requested that the Federal Reserve banks redeem gold certificates for 100,000 fine troy ounces of gold. And so at this, the $42.222, it equals $4,222,222.22. I'll stop doing that in a moment. But it looks as though to me that the Treasury can redeem all of those the gold certificate account by just paying back the 11.37. This number, 4,222,000, is important, as you'll see in just a moment. But if they can buy back the title, the lien on that gold by paying $11.37 billion to the Federal Reserve, I believe. And then we really have the gold. But right now, the gold is not there. Even if it's there, it's not there. There's a lien on it. Somebody else has a lien against America's gold.
In summary, while the U.S. Treasury holds significant gold reserves, these assets remain tied up due to outstanding liabilities in the form of gold certificates issued to the Federal Reserve. This historical financial arrangement illustrates how the U.S. monetary system transitioned from gold-backed currency to a fiat system, where gold remains more of a symbolic asset than an actively utilized financial reserve. How does the lien on U.S. gold reserves impact the government's financial flexibility? Could a return to a gold-backed currency system ever be feasible in today's economic landscape? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more updates. Thanks for joining us on this journey.